Alright, let's talk. So, with all the shit that's going on, Ted Cruz said that Roe versus Wade and the one that deals with contraception and the one, the ones that Thomas Clarence wanted to look into was government overstep. Government overstep by providing protections for people. That was government overstep. I don't think our senator of Texas even knows what government overstep is and what part of the role of the federal government is. See, because federal law supersedes state law. And one of the reasons why they wanted to do that is so there was a central government so that the states would not lead into tyranny. States' rights are fine and all, but the problem is that some states they've already passed a lot of laws, and now they're trying to pass laws that can stop a person from going from state to state to get a medical procedure done that the state that they're coming from doesn't like. Now, I don't know about you, but that's an extreme overreach. An overreach to the point where it's a constitutional violation because the state cannot stop you from going from state to state. The borders are open. That's one reason why we're called the United States of America. Okay? Because we're all one country that has a central government with little tiny governments underneath of it. And so when rights are being infringed upon in only some states, but not in others, then it is the central government's job, the federal government, to protect those rights so that the states aren't causing harm or discrimination against a certain group of people. One of those groups of people are women. And there is two of the things they're wanting to look at. One they've already overturned, but the other one they're wanting to overturn deals with women as well. Now, I don't know about you, but protecting the right of a woman to decide what to do with her body, with a woman to decide how she wants to plan her family, whether or not she wants to burden herself with a child, because it's a financial burden. There's no getting around that. It's a burden that people who want to be parents gladly take on. Okay? There are wanted and unwanted burdens. It's a financial burden. It's a time burden. Kids eat away at you. They just do. That is what having kids is. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just part of having kids. They drive you insane. They cost a lot of money. You're constantly having to correct them. You have to raise them. You have to take care of them. And for someone who doesn't have the means and doesn't want a child, that makes it extremely difficult and possibly toxic for the child. See, there's, I guess, unintended consequences that the Republicans didn't consider when they decided to do this and put those SNAP laws into place, so that they were in effect immediately once Roe versus Wade was overturned. I mean, it was yeah, it was planned from the get-go. Oh man. But one of the side effects, because you know they're all about life until that life is born, apparently. Imagine being a child where your parent didn't want you but was forced to have you. And did not have the means to take care of you. And also those that are forcing her to have you won't help her out to take care of you. So you basically live in abject poverty. You're treated like shit. You're abused. I mean, not to say that it's going to happen every time with an unwanted pregnancy. But even if you get into the foster system, you know, there's a lot of foster parents out there that just do it for the paycheck. They don't get attached to you. They don't want kids. They just want to stay at home and basically all they have to do is just make sure you don't die practically, and you have some food, and they get a paycheck. And so they give you minimal care and minimal attention so that they can collect the check. That's all you are to them, is a way to collect the paycheck. That's the foster system for you. Now granted, there are some couples out there, or even single people, who want a child and do get attached and do put effort into raising, you know, a child that's not theirs. So it's not to say that it happens all the time, but it'll happen more. You know, the bad parts will happen more. Because eventually, maybe the adoption centers and foster homes will just know where to put these kids. Then what do? You know? But these Republicans don't think beyond that. Already there's unintended consequences. Women are put in extremely dangerous positions because their body has a miscarriage. Okay? Or it doesn't implant right and it's ectopic. And the problem is that a lot of these states had put conditions in there that if there's, you know, paperwork that says that an abortion was administered as a treatment for a miscarriage, you know, the law's not very clear there. And our Republicans, you know, we could have people coming in there and say, well, we don't believe you, and you performed an abortion, so now you're a felon, and you go to jail, and you lose your license, and you lose your job, and your whole life is turned upside down because you provided a medically necessary treatment for a woman who just had a miscarriage, or a woman who has an ectopic pregnancy. And now, these lawyers at these hospitals and administrators are telling them to have these women with ectopic pregnancies to make it go until it ruptures. And then still, a lot of these doctors are getting afraid to do the necessary treatment to save the woman's life. Because here's the thing, if a fallopian tube ruptures, okay, that whole area is extremely vascular. She can bleed out in minutes. They got to do emergency surgery, and it may be too late. They may not be able to stop the bleeding, and the woman bleeds out because the Republicans wanted to pass a religious law because they believe that there's a life in there, a new person, as soon as the sperm gets in your vagina. They call it fertilization, but how do you know when fertilization happens? How the fuck do you know? The only way you can know that it had happened is if she's fucking pregnant. And that could take a month and a half to find out. Unless you have her peeing on a stick every day, and you got to get good ones or you get a lot of false positives. The one lady that had to go and pay for extra ultrasounds and go to a whole nother doctor to get the D&C done because her body wasn't passing the dead fetus naturally. It was rotting in her uterus, causing her lots of pain because her body is holding a carcass. It's breaking down because that's what dead things do. It's dead. And it can mix with her blood and make her septic and die. And it can literally take days for that to happen. But no, she had to go 2 weeks, pay a lot of extra money to have a lot of unnecessary ultrasounds, invasive ultrasounds, where they stick a ultrasonic wand up your vagina, up against and push it up against your cervix, which probably doesn't feel very good. It feels like a violation. Sure, yeah, men's penises go in there, but I'm sorry, that's not a penis, and they're not wanting it at that time. And it's unnecessary procedure at that point. It's already been ultrasound once. She had to get 2 more ultrasounds, pay out of pocket to have it done, and it still had to go to another doctor to get it done. And she could have gotten septic and died. And she wanted to have another child. She wanted to add to the population of good old Christians. I don't know if she was a Christian or not, but she was in Texas, so maybe. But she wanted to get a sibling for her daughter. Now, she is not interested in getting pregnant. She does not want to try to have another child, because if this happens again, who knows what's going to happen? She may die because of some stupid law that some stupid religious fuck that's worried about what's happening in a woman's uterus that's not his partner's uterus. They want to regulate women. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. There's no reason for this. This is unreasonable. It violates like 3 or 4 different fucking amendments. This is cruel and unusual. And I hope these women, I believe that, now, if any of you know these women, if any of you want to help me reach out to these people, I would suggest calling the FFRF, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, because they take on the government. They take on state governments who violate the First Amendment. These laws in these states are religious in nature. There's no other reason. Science does not consider it life until it's born. Science does not consider it they don't consider it life until, at the very least, viability. Therefore, there's no reason why it can't be allowed within the first and part of the second trimesters. Especially for things like ectopic pregnancies, which shouldn't even go more than a couple weeks. Especially when there's a miscarriage. What are we doing, people? It's ignorance. It's just plain fucking ignorance. People who don't know a goddamn thing about a woman's reproductive system, birth, anything about obstetrology, pregnancy, gynecology. They don't know nothing about it. They're legislating about it. How's that even a thing? How can anybody justify that? How can that be within the realm of the law? They don't know nothing about it. Why are they legislating it? God damn it. Seriously? Anyways, yeah, I'd say there's an overreach there, but it's not Roe versus Wade. It's the overturning of Roe versus Wade and all the states that have made these ridiculous SNAP laws that have gone into effect, causing these women all this pain and suffering. Not because... See, that's the problem. It's not affecting women who want an abortion outside of the 10-year-old who got raped and ended up pregnant. Now, this is affecting women who want to have children, but the pregnancy failed, and they needed procedures to resolve the issue, to maintain reproductive health so they can try again. And these laws are now making that a horrible experience. Something that, it's already a horrible experience. And they just exponentially made it worse with these stupid ass laws. Not understanding what an obstetrician and gynecologist have to do for these women when pregnancies don't go the way they're supposed to. Don't go the way that everybody expects them to. Everybody's, God, it's just, it's stupid. Now, let's go on to the other one. We got this woman now that doesn't want to have children anymore while these laws are in place because of all the shit that she just went through for a miscarriage and getting it taken care of so she could live. Now, Well, they haven't done it yet, but they're going to. It was suggested that they do it. And if they do it, here's what's going to happen. Now they're looking into contraception. Your right to go and protect yourself from unwanted pregnancies. Or to regulate your hormones. Say you have PCOS. One of the treatments for PCOS is birth control pills to regulate your hormones, because your hormones are irregular when you have PCOS, which can cause things like uterine cancer, just like my wife had to go through. It can cause ovarian cancer. It can cause cervical cancer. It can make it extremely difficult to get pregnant. It can make pregnancies dangerous, high risk. It can make miscarriages more common, requiring more things like D&Cs and stuff. My wife uses an IUD that has, it's a hormone releasing IUD to regulate her body so that she doesn't grow too much of an endometrium. Because that's what happened before. It grew and it grew and it grew and became cancerous. Because she wasn't having periods. She wasn't shedding the lining of her uterus. That's the whole reason why a woman has a period. That's what all those cramps are for and all that bleeding. That's the uterus working out that inner lining and expelling it from the body. Now, how many Republicans know that? How many men that are Republicans or that, legislators, politicians, and voters actually know that much detail about a woman's reproductive system? I don't know everything because I can't experience it, because I don't have those parts. But I certainly wouldn't just willy-nilly legislate on it because of what I thought was happening, because maybe I'm wrong. I would certainly, if I was going to make legislation, base it on something real. Base it on reality. Base it on what a doctor says and get some women's input on this stuff. That's kind of the common sense thing to do when you're wanting to legislate against something. You need to have a concrete reason why, or I would call it government overreach. Your concrete reason cannot be religious based. Your concrete reason needs to be based on science. You have to make exceptions. You have to put nuance into these bills. But now they want to go after contraception. To prevent yourself from getting pregnant, you're not allowed to do that anymore. To regulate your cycles, to regulate and make sure that you don't get cancer and die, you can't do that anymore. You get to live with PCOS and all the problems of PCOS without any remedy whatsoever. I've heard stories of constant bleeding for months at a time because of PCOS, and it's not being treated. Where you have to wear heavy-duty pads, possibly even a diaper on top of it, and you still bleed through to your pants. Imagine that. Can't go anywhere because all you do is fucking bleed. Because you have PCOS, and the government says, sorry, fuck you, you can't regulate that shit because we want to control your fucking uterus. And we're dumb idiots who don't know a goddamn thing about female female reproduction, and we just want to regulate on it because what we think is going on. what we think is this and what we think is that, even though we don't know what it actually is, and it's actually causing harm to you. So women are getting it, possibly, here in the future, twofold. Now, sodomy. I've talked about this before. We'll talk about this again. Sodomy. Sodomy is oral or anal sexual activity. We want to look at the sodomy laws. Well, first of all, why was there even sodomy laws? Oh, that's right. Religious fucks trying to control other people. Okay, well, the Supreme Court saw that it was unenforceable and ridiculous and a violation of a person's privacy. I mean, who is the government to say that you cannot have sex the way you want to? And this isn't just about gay people having sex. I imagine most guys out there enjoy a good blowjob, right? Especially when maybe anal or oral is the only alternative to having sex without risking getting pregnant because of these stupid laws. So a lot of these women out there say, "No, you ain't sticking nothing in my vagina." Nope. Stick it in my ass, stick it in my mouth. That's it. That's all you get. Oral and anal. Some guys might prefer that. They may say, "No, you ain't sticking it anywhere down there, and I'm just going to blow you, and then you can blow me." Okay. Well, now they say, "Nope, you can't do that." States that, we're a religious state, and we're even though that's an unconstitutional thing, and religious state, that's an unconstitutional thing. States' rights to be religious? Nope, sorry, that violates the Constitution. That supersedes whatever your state constitution is. Congress shall make no law respecting establishment of religion or prohibiting free exercise thereof. That goes for states too. That's why you can't have prayer led by schools or Bible reading in schools if it's preaching. Maybe a study, but you have to include all the text, all religions. You have to make it a course about world religions. That's fine, but you can't preach it. But okay, so now you're not allowed to blow each other or fuck each other in the ass. So, gay people can't have sex at all, apparently. Of course, Ted Cruz wanted to put a masturbation law in there, so you can't have, you might as well just chop it all off and be sexless. You can't enjoy anal. You can't use your dick. You can't masturbate. You can't do nothing. You can't rub your pussy. You can't do anything. That's what these politicians on the right want to do. Take away your sexual enjoyment of your body, even by yourself. So first of all, sodomy and masturbation and stuff like that. How the fuck do you regulate that? Do we now have to have an officer of the state in our bedroom every time we decide to have sex and make sure that we're doing it the right way? The state-sanctioned way? Is that freedom? Huh? And then the next one, obviously, is gay marriage. We just passed it to where the states cannot regulate on that. Gay marriage is legal. It is a right. the state must provide a marriage license for gay couples, same-sex couples, trans couples, it doesn't matter. Now they want to reverse it and go back to, what was it, 2012 or something like that, when all that was going on. Man, I couldn't see the car. Anyways. So yeah, now they want to take that away. So, well, you got the same rights as everybody else. You can marry a woman, but the guy don't love women. I mean, he might love women, but he doesn't want to be in a relationship with a woman because that's not what he's attracted to. See, it's not the same right. Okay? Yeah, a man and a woman can get married. Great. But if a woman loves a woman and not a man, they can't get married. That doesn't seem equal, now does it? Besides, why not? What reason are you giving? The Bible says this. No, the Bible doesn't say a goddamn thing about it. But still, even if it did, you can't make a law based on it. You cannot prohibit it. It's discrimination. It's a violation of the First Amendment. It's a violation of many other amendments probably as well. Oh, God. I honestly don't know how anybody, especially after what just happened, can possibly vote for a Republican unless you're completely stupid, completely ignorant of what's going on, of what the Constitution says and how it protects people and how it supersedes the states and how it's necessary that we have the federal government protect certain things so that people are not discriminated against, so there's no cruel and unusual punishment or treatment or issues dealt out because of state laws, like not, scaring doctors with criminal charges of criminal and jail time for providing a service that is medically necessary because of a miscarriage. And if it's not done, it could cost the life of the woman. Or an ectopic pregnancy that's a burst, and the doctor has to go through multiple channels, which could take hours, while this woman is hemorrhaging to death. I gotta go get 2 signatures and an ultrasound and all this stuff. Oh damn, the woman died because she bled to death before we could do anything. Because if we did anything, we could go to jail. Because our legislatures are retards. And I know that some people don't like that term. I'm from the 80s and 90s. We use that term a lot. Nothing against mentally disabled people, I'm not necessarily, whatever. It's not meant to hurt them. But yeah, they're just stupid. They're dumb. These legislators don't understand what they're doing. They can't look past their own religious beliefs. They're violating their oath of office by doing this and putting their beliefs into legislation, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop now. They need to impeach Clarence Thomas, Brett Kavanaugh and Neil Gorsuch. I don't know if Amy Coney Barrett lied under oath or not, and if she did, she needs to be impeached as well. And they all need to be replaced. Before Biden's out of office. And if you are worried about political, see, they're not supposed to judge based on party lines. They're supposed to be indifferent. They're supposed to look at the law as the law is and make the judgments based on the law, regardless of their political views. Plain and simple. That's all there is to it, people. That's all there is to it. And so if you're worried about political, that's fine. You could put conservative judges and liberal judges on there on an equal footing. No, we're not doing this unequal footing thing. They've already abused their power immediately, basically. I mean, Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch, and Amy Coney Barrett were just put in. And when Neil Gorsuch was put in, he took the place of what would have been he's the Attorney General now. I can't remember, Merrick Garland or something like that. Yeah, he's got a weird name. No, he was, Obama's pick, and McConnell said, "Well, no, we can't be picking judges at the end of a presidency," and so they didn't do it, like weenies that the Democrats are. And then McConnell turned around at the end of Trump's presidency and pushed through a Supreme Court judge saying, "Oh, we're going to push right through." He contradicted himself. Double standards. Republicans get what they want. Democrats bend over and take it, apparently. And you notice that we had 14 Democratic senators or representatives go out and protest with the people about this whole abortion thing. Now, all 14 of them got arrested for protesting. Go figure, right? I'm telling you, people, this is absolutely ridiculous. And it needs to stop. We gotta reverse this and put Roe versus Wade back into place and codify it and make sure that abortion, at the very least within the first trimester, is a constitutional right. The government shall not legislate a woman's reproductive system, or a man's reproductive system for that. Both human sexual reproduction shall not be legislated against. You can probably throw trans people into that because they want to change their sex. You can put NOLOs into that because they want to change their sex. Well, they don't want to swap, they just want to get rid of. Who cares? If you're an adult, You make your own choices. My God. We are turning into, well, you know, some people consider this Sharia law, and it kind of is. Women are now second-class citizens. I mean, when are they going to take away a woman's right to vote or work? What next? All the progress. The Republicans are not Republicans. They're regressivists. All right. That's all I'm going to talk about. Reach out to those people. Anybody that feels like they've been women in general should call the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Ask them if there's anything to it when it comes to the states violating the First Amendment, because that's specifically what they do. They go after government entities that violate the First Amendment's Establishment Clause. Call them. Tell them. It just seems like religion run amok. Trying to tell me what I can and cannot do with my body. Taking away my bodily autonomy. FFRF or an actual lawyer, any woman that has had to deal with anything like what I had mentioned before earlier in this video about miscarriages and not getting the proper help you need because of the doctors being afraid. Don't sue the doctor. No. Don't sue the doctor because it's not their fault. Don't sue the hospital. It's not their fault. Sue the government, starting with the state. And when the Supreme Court gets flooded from every fucking state that has an abortion ban coming into the Supreme Court, and they got to revisit this whole fucking issue again, because of their authoritarian bullshit. Maybe they'll change it. Maybe they'll put things right. Maybe something will come of it and will actually impeach these conservative judges on the Supreme Court that had lied under oath and have a level of corruption within their influence, like Clarence Thomas and his wife and her involvement in the January 6th insurrection. And maybe we could put term limits on this shit. Or at least an age limit. I think you should be forced to retire at like 65 or something like that. Same thing with the presidency. I think 65, you can get voted in at age 65, but that's it. You cannot, you only, okay, if you get voted in for a first term at 65, you can continue on to your second term. It's only stipulation. Outside of that, in any position, I think, there's a term limits for the president. You get 2 terms because it's such a short term compared to like a senator or something like that. Okay, but senators, maybe we should have term limits on that too. Maybe 2 term limits for everybody. And then someone else has to fill in a gap. And then age limits as well. 65 and 2 terms. Because that's what, 12 years for a senator or something like that? I don't know what it is. But anyways, that's all I'm going to talk about. I'm going to get off of here now and talk long enough. I mean, goddamn people, don't vote Republican. At least not until they clean their shit up. I don't have an issue with opposing views, but when shit like this starts happening based on stupidity and ignorance, it's time to make the party lose enough that they have to rethink which way they want to go with it, you know? That's all. Have a good one. And I hope justice comes.